ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of almost all ages, with parental consent. The Sick Twisted Minds at Sacrificial Productions brings you a new style gore film, like nothing you have seen before. There are no cops, no investigations. There is no backstory, no follow-up of the victims who were brutally tortured and murdered. Our story isn't about them. Normal Terror is about a single dad struggling to make ends meet. His son is his first priority. He goes to work, pays his bills, and is generally a great dad. The twist comes after he puts his son to bed. This is where he releases his stress. Some people do yoga, some hit the gym, some go for runs, some people paint on a canvas. An anonymous source once wrote on an abandoned asylum wall, "I never understood people until I took one apart just to see how it worked." If you are rear-ended in traffic, most people's thought runs to anger and their primal instincts of hurting the other party. Sam Neill does not have the ability to stop that primal instinct. Let us take you into the mind of a killer. Normal Terror is a concept from the mind of Sam Mason, who wrote, directed, produced, and is starring in this new age feature film.
Let's get slicing and dicing with Sir Sturdy horror fans. On this podcast, you will hear me and a guest do some movie reviews, random funny horror chats, and whatever else comes to mind. So tune in, kick back, relax, and always remember, I'll see you in your nightmares. Welcome to Horror with Sir Sturdy, episode 7. I have my cousin Michael with me again. He's going to be featured a lot on this podcast. So today we did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974. The movie was released October 4th, 1974. Interesting thing with the budget, the film was only supposed to be made at $60,000. It ended up costing $80,000 more for editing, for extra editing, additional editing. So they had to sell part of their ownership, part of their royalties, to pay off the budget, which ended up being $140,000. And the gross ended up being $30.9 million, which isn't bad at all, especially with that budget. And for the time, 1974, it's not a bad come up, so to speak. So in this movie, we have 5 friends. We have Kirk and Pam. They're dating each other. We have Jerry and Sally. They're dating each other. And we have Franklin, who's Sally's brother. I'm not sure who's older or younger. They never really said. So, starts off, they're in a van. They went to go see Sally and Franklin's grandfather's grave. They drove off to see them, the grave or whatever. They get to the site. They get out the van. Sally gets out the van. She runs up and asks some guy, if she can go see the graveyard. The guy tells her, you don't get the guy's name, to go talk to the sheriff, which she does, I guess. You don't really see that. You don't see them go check out the graveyard, but when they come back and get in the van, there's a very, very, very small discussion about, her grandfather's grave was dug up. And they really didn't seem too worried or freaked out about that, which kind of, to me, it felt weird. I don't know how you felt about that, Michael.
Yeah, I know if I had a family member who had just passed and the grave was dug up, that wouldn't fly too well with me.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to go out with the rest of your day all nice and calm. Like, shit, I just visited the grave, and then okay, let's go back to going camping or whatever the hell they were doing. I don't know what they were doing originally. So from then, they get back in the van, they're talking. Franklin starts talking about slaughtering cows. As a matter of fact, he was saying it as they were passing a slaughterhouse, and there was actually cows outside. And he was talking about how back in the day, they would use a hammer and hit them in the head with it, and they wouldn't always die at first, so they'd have to do it a few more times. And he went from and everybody in the van was uncomfortable about the conversation, especially the females. And it was kind of just Franklin talking to everybody, not anybody going like back and forth with him about this stuff. And it went from that to him talking about how they use a gun. It has, I guess, some sort of bolt, and they shoot the cat. They shoot the cow in the head. I think like right in between the eyes, and it kills him instantly. And then they pull the bolt. You can pull the bolt out. I guess you can reuse it. And from there, they're driving down the road still. And I don't remember who sees the hitchhiker first or who says it first, but someone said, "Hey guys, there's a hitchhiker. Do you want to pick him up?" My first thought is, fuck no, hell no. Let that motherfucker walk. Keep going, drive, mind your own damn business, go do what you're doing. But they didn't do that. I guess if they didn't do that, the movie wouldn't be what it was. And I don't know, what'd you think about that?
I don't know, in 1974, you're with four friends. You probably don't feel too threatened by that until, well, at least me, when they pick up the hitchhiker, he's got a blood stain on his face. And to me, that would be a red flag right away. I probably wouldn't stay the course of picking him up and bringing him along wherever the fuck we were going.
Yeah, it just seemed weird though. Like, I mean, not that I agree with it in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003 that we reviewed, but at least with that one, like, the girl just seemed like she was out of her mind, like lost, and they were trying to help her. This one was just like, oh shit, somebody's walking down the street by themselves. Let's fucking pick him up. Yeah. Nothing's going on, and they picked him up. As you were saying, he did have that blood stain like across his face, on his cheek, I should say, and nobody seemed alarmed by it. Nobody questioned it. They just let him get in the van, and he was weird as hell. Like, to me, for those times, he was probably high. That's the way I look at it. He's probably just fucked up. And so he gets in the van, and Franklin asks him about the slaughterhouse, if he works there or worked there. And I think he said he did a few times, but he didn't really work there. He's been in there.
Yeah.
I think he knew somebody that worked there. I'm not sure who. And Franklin was talking about how his uncle worked there. So then these two brought up the whole cow slaughter again, going back and forth, making everybody uncomfortable about it. And I just thought of this. Do you remember that little pouch he had around his neck?
Yeah.
He pulled out pictures of something that he slaughtered. I don't know if it was a pig or what, or a cow or what, because I don't fucking know. But remember, he was passing the pictures around the van. Mm-hmm. Everybody wanted to see him, and everybody. He first gave him to Franklin, I should say, and then I don't know if it was Pam or Kirk. I think Kirk had him last. Anyways, everybody in the van ended up seeing him, and then they were all like upset about it and saying how disgusting it was. I'm like, why the fuck did you take the pictures if you knew what it was gonna be? So they went from that. That conversation ended. Everybody was uncomfortable with that conversation. To Franklin had a little pocket knife, and he was just like digging under his nails a little bit, or whatever, kind of going across his fingers, not cutting himself. Like, I don't know what the hell he was doing. He was playing with his pocket knife, and excuse me, the hitchhiker grabs it from him, and he's like playing with it in his hand, rubbing it against his hand, looking at it, laughing and shit. And out of nowhere, he just fucking, which you knew it was gonna happen, the way you see this guy handling the knife and fucking playing with it like a weird hitchhiker, I guess, slices his hand right across. And yes, I did the slice motion like you guys can see it, but you can't because this isn't video. And that right there, again, you see the blood on his face, you still let him in. Crazy. That right there would have been like, you know what? Get the fuck out. Stop. Kick him out the van and just take off. But they didn't. And what's your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously the dude has mental issues if he's sitting there cutting himself. And he's got blood on his face. So then, after that, he takes the picture of Franklin, right?
Yeah, yep. Not too long after that.
And then he tries to charge him, what was it, $2 or $3?
$2.
$2 to buy the picture of himself, which was a shitty quality picture anyway.
Oh, this is way before digital cameras. This shit was garbage.
So then, after all this, he pulls a blade out of his pouch and asks if anybody wants to hold it. Everybody's alarmed by it, doesn't want anything to do with it. So then, He ends up getting up and like slicing Franklin's arm, and then they kick him out the van.
That's what I mean. That's a good reason to kick him out the van, but it took that for them to be like, maybe we should have, we shouldn't have picked this guy up. And the funny thing about that is after they kicked him out the van, when they're driving off, they're like, we're never picking up hitchhikers again.
Hey, but you gotta put it in perspective. This is 1974. The world's in a lot different place than we are right now, 2018. So
I guess, but
I mean, even a lot of things were looked at differently, like even slaughtering animals and shit like that. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, I guess, but yeah, you got a point there. So they kick him out, and Franklin talks them into going to, I believe it's his father's property, where where they used to go as kids and all that.
Yeah.
And they wanted to go check it out. I don't know if this was their original plan, because they were going somewhere. I just forgot where they planned on going. Because they did say something a couple times in the movie. Because I remember the one guy was saying, we have to get gas.
Yeah.
Which we didn't say that part. Oh, shit. We can say it now, though. Fuck it. They went to the gas station, and again...
Yeah, but that was after they picked up the hitchhiker.
They dropped... Yeah, you're right. They dropped the hitchhiker off. They kicked him out the van. Or, you know what? Before they kicked him out, though, remember he was like, you guys can just drop me off at my house. I'm right up the road.
That's right.
And then the girl was like... Because he said, he was like, it's not even that far of a drive. And the girl was like, well, we have somewhere to go, so... Can't you just walk because it's not that far? We're in a hurry.
And then he offers them dinner, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was like, you guys can come over, bring me home. You can have some dinner with us, dinner with me and my family. And they kicked him out. After that is when the other shit started, where he cut Franklin in the arm, and, they went on their merry way. So they drop him off. They go to the gas station. Franklin's arm, they don't show it, but Franklin's arm's wrapped up. They don't show him doing it. He's wrapped up in the cloth or whatever, so he's good, I guess. He was crying at first, like a little bitch, but besides the point. So they get to the gas station. Some dude that's sitting outside the gas station, he works there, I'm hoping, comes up with the bucket, starts wiping on, cleaning off the front window.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing he's the owner of the gas station comes outside, and they ask for gas, and he said, we're all out, but I have barbecue.
Yeah.
So he goes back inside, gets him some food. Well, he talks to him a little bit more. He tells him they can go... No, Franklin asks him if he knows where the... Actually, I think it's like where the Franklin building is or whatever. I forgot what they called it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the Franklin slaughterhouse. And he says, yeah, but I wouldn't go there, da-da-da-da-da. Franklin tells him that his father owns it. And he's like, oh, okay, whatever. I still wouldn't hang out there. And other people... He said I wouldn't go there on other people's properties, and Franklin told him his father owned it. That's what it was. So, that part was really, make a long story short. He tells them where it is, I guess. They go there. And they get out the van. Everybody gets out the van, including Franklin, which we didn't mention. Franklin's in a wheelchair. So, this area, they're in the out in the woods, like a camping ground type of feel. That's how you can look at it. They're out in the woods or whatever. All the people that can walk go inside and leave Franklin out there. Oh, shit. Because, remember, when they get out the van, they see that the guy wrote in blood something on the side of the van.
Yeah, so Franklin was outside washing it off. Or looking at it and washing it off.
Yeah, and I don't even think he washed it off, though.
No.
He was looking at it.
And
he was talking about it or whatever. And Kurt, Sally, Pam, and Jerry all went inside, fucking fooling around, playing around, having a good time, leaving this dude outside. And, he was pissed off.
Yeah, he was.
And I think, you might be able to speak more on this. Just getting left
regular
outside.
People always leave handicapped people outside. We know how it goes.
He was calling for them.
But you regular people were so busy having fun, you ain't even hear him.
Nope, they didn't. He was calling. He was getting mad too. Like he was yelling, "Kurt, Jerry, Sally, Pam," and they're just upstairs giggling and jumping around and shit, having a grand old time. And meanwhile, his ass is trying to get inside. He has to go up like a little hill They don't really show the hill, but you can see from the angle. And he's like, wheeling along, pulling himself, yelling. He had a fit. And when he finally gets in...
He starts to mock the girl's laugh, right?
Yeah. He was doing that. But then, like, you know how when a little kid gets mad, they spit, like... He was doing a laugh. He was like, ha, ha, ha. I was dying. He was pissed. And I don't know if he overreacted or not. Maybe not, because it is kind of fucked up. They just left him. Again, this is 1974. It's not like he had a powered wheelchair, can just, wheel himself in there easily. He had to use his arms and all that shit. And he was mad as... He was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
He flipped out. So then, who was it that came downstairs first? Pam and Kirk. Because they asked him where the swimming hole was.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it's out back between the two sheds and whatever. And they said, okay, we'll find it. So they go off on their merry way. And he's still pissed off. And you see him wheeling along having a fit. And he goes into the next... He's like going into the next room. I don't know if he crashed into the doorway or what, but he banged... He crashed into something. I started laughing. And he gets in the room. And I think from there, doesn't it go to them going down to the water hole or whatever?
Yeah. They go down to the water hole, which they never do find, right?
No, they don't. They go down there. But I remember they were like running and laughing when they were going. And Kirk tripped. Mm-hmm. And then he was saying something about, he was like, how the hell did they get Franklin's big ass down here or some shit? And
then he was saying somebody wants to carry them or something.
That's what Pam said.
Yeah.
Pam was like, when he was little, he used to carry him.
Yeah.
And Kirk was like, no, he's always been big or something. He's always been big. And it was fucked up. It was funny, but it was fucked up. So we go from there to, did they show back at the house with Sally and Jerry? Or not really, Sally, Jerry, and Franklin?
They showed when. How did Pam and Kirk end up at
the house?
The house?
Because when they went down that hill or whatever where the swimming hole was.
Mm-hmm.
Then they kept walking forward and then they looked over and they seen. I
think they seen gas. They thought they seen something about gas.
What it was, I think they heard the generator.
Oh, okay.
And he said something about gas, and then he was. This is the part that kind of not confused me, it threw me off. I'm just like, wait a minute, where the fuck was this? And I'm going to tell you guys what I'm talking about right now. When Pam and Kirk were walking towards the house, and Kirk was talking about getting the gas or whatever, he's like, okay, maybe I can trade them my guitar, give them my guitar overnight, and a couple dollars,
mm-hmm.
and we can come back tomorrow and get more gas, and I'll get my guitar back and give them some more money. When the hell? I did not see a guitar in that van. I mean, you didn't see their luggage or anything, but I mean,
yeah.
Usually, especially from movies from these years, white people love playing their damn guitar.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have it out in the van, just playing bang, 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 bang. That's more of a banjo, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he didn't have that guitar out, so I mean, maybe it was in the back. I don't know, like behind, all the way in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just like, where the fuck is this guitar? I was really thinking that during the movie, like, where the fuck is this fucking guitar? Like, I want to see this damn guitar that he supposedly has. So yeah, so they go, they see the house, they go up to it, and they get into like a little tiny argument, Pam and Kirk. I don't know what it was about.
Because he found a tooth on the front porch.
That's right. He was like, here, I got something for you, and gave it to her. And she overreacted and flipped out and had her little fit and ran and sat on some swing. Ran down the porch and sat on some swing. And he kept calling her over because he went up he stayed on the porch. He was knocking on the door because, again, they were there for gas. Obviously, nobody answered. So he's knocking on the door, the door opens. And he's looking back, calling Pam. She's just fucking sitting there chilling on the swing. Pam, come on. No, I don't want to. And she, having a little fit still. So this is where shit starts to get a little interesting. His dumbass walks in the house, looking around and shit, and
yeah, well, he knocks first, but knocks too hard, and the door opens up. So then he walks in the house and he sees like a red wall to the back with some like old skulls on it. So he walks back there. Hello, is anybody home? Of course, keeps walking in the house anyway. And gets to the back where the red wall is, and then Leatherface claps him up with a hammer.
Yeah, because Leatherface just like kind of popped out of nowhere. He popped up quick. Boom! Knocked him upside the head with the hammer. Out. Done. For the count. So we go from that, and it goes back outside. Do you see Pam? And she's calling Jerry. Well, first Leatherface drags Jerry off. And he slams the, actually, that's another thing. He closes the door. There's like the door slides over.
Mm-hmm.
Similar to like elevator doors, I guess you could say. Slides over like that, but it's like one big door slides over, covers the red wall. And so then it goes back outside, and you see Pam on the swing. She finally decides to get her ass up. She goes in the house, looking around for Jerry. And she goes into some room, and there's a chicken in a cage, which was kind of funny. It was a big-ass chicken, too. There's a bunch of feathers on the floor. Somehow she falls, of course. And she's, like, looking around the room and see, like, a bunch of skeletons and shit, and just all over the room, skeletons, feathers.
And a chicken in a cage.
Yeah, the chicken in the cage. There was, like, a long bone that's supposed to be, like, a bone from a human leg, I'm guessing.
Looked like a dog bone.
Yeah, it did. And she's just, like, after she fell, she's, like, standing there freaking out, or laying there, freaking out, screaming this whole time. And I'm thinking to myself, bitch, get up and run. Like, why are you just sitting there screaming for, like, 10 minutes, making all this damn noise, causing all this ruckus for no reason?
Letting everybody know where you are.
Yeah, well, I mean, she doesn't know that somebody's after them and all that, but still, it's like, you have no business being in that house in the first place. And you're just sitting there, you know. She finally gets her dumb ass up, and she heading for the door. And as she's going out heading for the front door, going to the door, Leatherface slams that slide door open, sees her. She's going to run outside, yokes her up. Right after she opens that screen door and runs out, yokes her up, brings her ass inside. And for those of you who are on Facebook, if you know about GIFs and all that, you've seen that GIF plenty of times. You've probably seen the picture. I will post it. It'll be posted by the time you hear this, I'll say that. And I actually like that scene where he yoked her up like that. I was like, that's pretty awesome. It's cool. Especially something for that old, the 70s. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like maybe a jump scare for some people. I don't know, because you've seen that coming. But, I don't know. What'd you think?
I don't think it was a jump scare. There was only one jump scare in this movie. Where was it?
Later on, right?
I think so.
I don't remember, because I didn't jump at all in this one. But I'm so prone to it, if that's the right word. Just because you see a lot more things that are really jump scares. Which, while I'm going to say that, I didn't write this down. I was reading it. I got this off the IMDb thing also. The director, Tobe Hooper, originally wanted this movie to be PG. How? I don't know. But he wanted it. That's why it wasn't real bloody. This was like one of the least bloodiest movies. If you've seen how there wasn't really that much blood at all. One of the least bloodiest horror movies of all time. But he wanted it to be PG. So that's like, with the kill scenes, you didn't see any on-screen kill scenes. And that's like the main thing. It wasn't real. It was violent, but everything that happened that was like violent and real brutal was like off-scene for the most part. Like, when you remember.
Except for when he killed the guy in the wheelchair.
Well, when he found out that he couldn't get it PG, because at this time, in the 70s, that movie was going to be rated X, but it got an R rating, which is crazy. But yeah, so back to this. So they get back. He brings Sally inside. Or no, sorry, Pam inside. And actually, didn't it show him bringing her like downstairs like right away? He put her on the hook like right away. He put her on the meat hook right away. And you see homeboy Kirk laid out across like a bench or something. He's like hanging off. Leatherface turns his chainsaw and it doesn't show it, but it insinuates him cutting him up. Mm-hmm. Like how I was just saying, how they want to make it, not too gory. But another thing about that is they were saying that with him doing these off-camera type things, again, it's probably for that time. it made the movie more scary because, you know, everything's off scene. You don't see it, but you just know what's going on. So that's kind of a cool little thing to it. So, yeah, so those two end up dead. Those two are dead. There's 3 left. And somehow I don't remember, or I don't even think they really got into detail about it. Jerry, with the cool afro and glasses, he ends up knocking on the front door of that house too.
No, they do, because
Right?
remember he asked how to get to the water hole. And
That's
then
what-
he goes to go look for once he doesn't find the water hole, he goes to look for everybody else.
He goes to look
Or
for the
the
other
two
two.
missing.
Okay. I'm like, how the hell was I eating a bagel bite then?
Kind of sloppy put together though, because he goes down there and then all of a sudden he just knows. He ends up heading over to the same house they went to after he discovers that there's no water hole there.
Okay.
So he automatically assumes that his friends are in that house. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
Granted, when he gets to the porch, he finds something on the porch. I want to say it was the dude's jacket.
It was the other. Excuse me. It was one of the jackets because when she went to the swing, remember she hung it on the swing.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe she grabbed it when she went back inside, and maybe it got dropped and Leatherface yoked her up. But he just knocking on the door, and doesn't Leatherface just kind of open the door and hit him in the head with the hammer and drag him in?
Yeah.
Like that happened. He didn't waste no fucking time this time. He's just like, no, bonk, and that's it. So it goes from that, because it doesn't. After that, you don't see Jerry anymore in the movie, or his cool afro, or his glasses,
No.
which is kind of upsetting. It goes from that to the siblings, Sally and Franklin.
And they're arguing back and forth about what to do at this point because it's nighttime. All their friends have disappeared. Sally wants to go try to look for them at the water hole. Franklin's scared, doesn't want to stay with himself. Also doesn't want to go, but would rather go than stay with himself.
One important thing though is Franklin actually wanted to do what made the most sense. When he was beeping the horn to try to get their attention for a while. That didn't work. But when he was saying we should go to the gas station, again, they didn't know all what they know. You know what we know. We should go to the gas station and try to get help. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sally, she's like, no. She said, no, I can't leave Jerry.
Jerry's already gone.
Fuck Jerry, go get help. So then they're arguing about this, like you were saying. Franklin had a flashlight. They were fighting over the flashlight. And she's just like, fine, I'll just go alone. And he's like, no, I'll come with you. I'll come with you. And she says, I don't want to have to push you. Which, you know, again, trying to leave him there just by himself sitting by the van.
Yeah.
But he might have been safer sitting by the van. You want to take this part?
So then he decides that he'll push himself. So they go down. They start to head down the trail. As the trail gets rough, you can see that she starts to push him and help him out. So he's got the flashlight. He's directing. And they discover there's no water hole. So they're heading through the woods to that house, of course.
Yeah, well, they're heading in that direction. But you don't necessarily... I mean, they didn't necessarily know about the house at that time, I don't think, because they never really mentioned it. But she was pushing. Remember, 2 times he was like, Sally, I hear something.
Yeah.
And
So the second time he hears something, they look to their right, and there's Leatherface. And he chainsaws the shit out of Franklin, and his piece of shit sister just leaves him there and starts to fucking run off.
what did she say? First of all, we're going to
She
talk
should
about
have
this.
snuffed Leatherface in the face, yo.
First of all, we're going to talk about this. Because he did cut the shit up at a fucking Franklin. And I was laughing. You weren't really laughing too much at that part like I was. Maybe you felt his pain. I don't know. But I was dying. And then you really called her a piece of shit and a bitch at that part. And said, why the fuck did she leave? I'm like, yo, he's dead. What
She could have at least... He wasn't... I mean, he could have survived a couple cuts from the chainsaw, and she should have pulled his ass out, pulled the blade out. Like, as she pulled him away, the blade could have slipped out and just fucking booked it.
That would have tore him up more and put her in danger trying to do all that shit.
She was in danger anyway.
He's dead weight. She had to leave him.
All right, so she runs.
Yeah.
And
she ends up...
somehow she runs like a 4-2 and like outruns fucking Leatherface.
But if she runs a 4-2, he's running like a 4-4 because he's not too far behind.
I know.
With a fucking chainsaw in his hand at that.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, that's 40 times. You know. So, go ahead.
So, she eventually ends up back at the barbecue gas station spot.
She does, because she's running...
And...
No, she goes to the house before that, though.
Does she?
Because remember, she runs in the front door is all cut up, and she runs upstairs, and Leatherface hears... Leatherface there behind her. Right. He runs upstairs behind her, and she fucking runs upstairs, and this bitch just jumps right out a window. Like,
yeah.
There was no thinking about it, because at that part where she's running up to the window and jumps through the window, I'm like, yo, she's a survivor. She wants to survive. Like, she's not doing no silly shit. And, you know, she jumps out the window from the second floor. Of course, she gets a little banged up. She's laying there for a minute.
So she lays there.
Leatherface
taking all the time in the world, acting like she got broken limbs or acting like jumping out of a high story hurts.
Have you ever jumped out of a window?
No, but...
All right, then. It's not going to feel good when you hit the ground.
All right, well, that adrenaline rush, and you know you got some 6'3", 200-pounder chasing you after with a chainsaw. So she sits there, lets him get all the way downstairs, again about probably 10 feet away, then she pulls out that 4.2 speed again.
Yep, and he's right behind her again with that 4.4 speed. And then from there, she's running around. And the funny thing about it was, I mean, I know it's an old-ass movie, but it seemed like they were running like a big circle for a while with a black light on.
Yeah.
You pointed the black light thing out.
It looked like a black light because, like, his face was shining like a black light poster. And so was part of his outfit. She was shining like a black light poster, too. So... eventually, she runs to the gas station and tells, like, no, somebody's found me. He's trying to kill me. He killed da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, when she gets to the gas station and sees the guy from earlier.
Yeah, so the gas attendant tells her he's going to pull his truck up or whatever. Comes in with, like, a bag and a rope and, like, some kind of stick to beat her with.
No, he came in with the bag and the rope. And he didn't pick up the broom until after. Which,
oh, that's right.
This was a funny fucking quote. First, you know, first he calms her down because she's telling him what's going on. So he kind of calms her down. He's like, "Listen, I'm gonna go get my truck, and then we can get out of here." Pretty much. He grabs his truck, he backs it up, opens the passenger door, and then, like Michael was saying, he grabs a bag. He grabs something out the truck. You don't see it at first. He gets in there. He grabs a bag. It's a bag and a rope. And she's like, "What are you doing?" Oh man! And she picks up like a blade or something, and he grabs a broom, and he said, "Nobody's gonna hurt you." But then he beats the hell out of her with the broom till he knocks her out. Until he knocks her out, and I was dying. And the fucked up but funny part about this scene is when Michael sees the bag, the rope. He sees the girl knocked out on the ground. He's tying her up. And he's like, "Wait a minute! He's not even gonna rape her." I started dying. I was like, yo, it's not that kind of movie. But, excuse me. So we go from there. He obviously puts her in the truck. They're driving off. And you see...
I mean, to my argument, though, she was the only woman in the 70s with an ass in this movie, but continue.
I guess. I mean, you could say that. Kind of one. But, so anyways, they go from there. He puts her in the truck. They drive off. And you see the hitchhiker again. And the guy, what the hell was his... They didn't even have names. That's the funny part. Like, only the main five had names. Everybody else was, like, hitchhiker. What the hell do they even call this guy?
Pickup truck driver. Just, like, random names like that in the credits. So you kind of had to put the pieces of the puzzle together to figure out who's who.
So, we're going to call him... He was you find this out in the movie. He goes to the hitchhiker. He's yelling at him, saying, "You were around that graveyard again, huh?" And I forgot what the hitchhiker said to him, but they were arguing back and forth. And he started hitting the hitchhiker, like slapping him and shit. They drive, then, they get in the truck. The hitchhiker gets in the back of it's a pickup truck, so he gets in the bed. They drive to the house. And he's like, he's yelling at, "You left your brother home alone too, didn't you? Blah, 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 blah." Which, his brother's Leatherface. They get to the house. They get up to the porch. He said, look what your brother did to the door." Because Leatherface cut the door up. And he was like, look what your brother did to the house. The house was all tore up from chasing the girl around and shit and knocking people out. And he was like, he probably let those other kids get away, didn't he? He asked and he goes into the kitchen, I believe. And Leatherface is like, he asked, "Did you let the other kids go away?" And Leatherface, saying no and shaking his head no and all this stuff. And he starts slapping the shit out of Leatherface and hitting him. I'm just like, hold up. Leatherface is this big 6'3", 200-pound dude getting beat up by someone about maybe 5'11", 150 pounds, 180 pounds. But you don't know. We find out that that's his father, and him and the hitchhiker are brothers. And after he's done slapping the shit out of Leatherface, he tells the boys to go get their grandfather, which is this old.
Well, no, before that, they bring the girl up and tie her to a chair.
They did do that. And she was like passed out. She woke up. Or no, that's after they brought Grandpa downstairs.
No. She woke up first.
Screaming?
Alarmed that the hitchhiker was there because the hitchhiker was all in her face.
That's right.
And then, so they torment her for a little while, and the father tells them to go get the grandfather. So two men lift the grandfather downstairs. He looks half dead, kind of looked like a mummy in a way.
He did.
And so they bring him downstairs, sit him right next to her. Somehow the grandfather's still alive because they cut her finger open and then stick her finger in his mouth, and he just sits there and sucks on her finger.
What's another part that I was laughing at. And
she's just screaming while her finger's going in and out of his mouth as he sucks on it. And she passes out, I think.
Yeah, because then they put her, when they wake up, when she wakes up again, you can hear plates hitting, forks hitting the plate, and they're eating. And when she wakes up again, she starts screaming. And so they all start screaming, except for the grandpa. And eventually, the father, which we'll just call him Dad, he gets tired of these guys screaming, but they keep screaming. They keep screaming at her, screaming with her when she's screaming. And he's like, just stop torturing her and just kill her. So, let Grandpa do it because he's the best at it, and he's not the best at it. So they untie her, they bring her over to next to where the grandfather is, and they put her head over this big ass bucket, to give you an example.
Like a bucket you mop out of, kind of.
Bigger than that, though. You could say that. I'll say you bobbing for apples.
Yeah.
Kids used to do fill it up with water, put apples in there. And so they give the grandfather a little hammer, and he keeps fucking dropping it. He dropped it 6 times.
Well, he can't really swing, so he's just trying to toss it in the direction of her head, but he keeps missing.
He did get her one time.
Yeah, and I laughed.
But then he just kept dropping, same shit, dropped it a bunch of times. And somehow she gets away, which I felt was crazy.
Because, well, like I said, the hitchhiker seems kind of mentally not there. Well, I think so. He kind of let her go to go grab the hammer.
Because he wanted to hit her.
Yeah. And she escapes.
Runs out the house.
By this time it's morning, right?
Kind of. Or is it? Is it the next day? It is kind of bright out, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so she runs up the front door, and the hitchhiker's chasing her with a knife, and Leatherface is right behind him. They're all just running. And just the way they were all running was just hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
We were just dying at that part. And, so they're running down the dirt road, and she gets to the street, and there's a fucking tractor trailer coming. Damn it. Black dude with an afro, big beard, kind of looks like my Uncle Joe.
No, that was... The first one wasn't him, remember?
Who was the first? Yeah,
because the first truck hits...
Leatherface.
No,
no.
Hits Leatherface's brother.
The hitchhiker.
Yeah. But
then he stopped after he hit her.
Oh, you're right. Because then she tried to stop a car, but the car didn't stop.
No. Here's what the other truck stopped too. But remember, because the tractor trailer hits the dude, runs the dude over, stops. He opens the driver's side door. The girl gets in. Leatherface comes up.
That's right.
And he closes the driver's side door, which, before we even get past this part, I don't know why he didn't just take off.
Yeah.
From right there. Like, he closes the driver's side door. And then you see the passenger side door open. The girl gets out. He gets out. He grabs a monkey wrench. Or a pipe wrench. They run down the side of the truck. Leatherface comes around. He just threw the wrench and hit Leatherface like square in the forehead. He fell over. And when he fell,
the chainsaw lands on his leg.
Yeah, and cuts it a little bit. And he's like, ah! And the dude, I don't know what it is with these people in these 40 times, but the dude with the beard and the afro that looks like Uncle Joe, he took off. He was gone.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen him running the opposite direction of his truck. And while all this commotion's going on, there's a blue pickup truck coming down the street. And he kind of, like, swerves out of the way of Leatherface and the girl. Does a quick U-turn. And, the girl hops in the back of his truck. Leatherface gets up. Got the chainsaw he's coming after the truck, but obviously he can't catch it. And the dude just drives off. You see the girl in the back of the truck all bloody and just like, she was like screaming / crying / laughing all in one. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing she was that scared that all that shit happened and upset that everybody died, but happy she's getting away.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much how it ended.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, what'd you think of the movie overall?
It was pretty good. I liked kind of the change in characters. Like, I liked the family a little bit more in this one. I feel like it kind of made more sense because they all seem mentally off, and to be in a family like that and be able to do something like that, you kind of got to be a little mentally off. And I think that kind of fit them more because, like, in the newer Texas Chainsaw Massacres, they kind of just seem more sinister and just pure evil.
That's true.
But like this their behavior kind of more explains it.
Kind of like, I think from what I'm getting at, what you're saying is it's like,
it's more understandable in a way, like
almost like, not that it's not wrong, but they don't see it as wrong in a sense.
Yeah.
Like to them, it's not wrong at all. It's like, this is normal.
Yeah.
I can see that. I get that. I like this one a lot too.
Like, I like that explanation better as a selling point rather than the whole family's just crazy because the boy was born with a deformed face and everybody felt bad for him.
Gotcha.
That was kind of the selling point in the newer versions versus this one, they're more mentally ill.
Yeah. I could see that. Like, I like this one too. And I think, excuse me, I think one big thing I liked about it, I mean, I know I've said this on other episodes, like, with the horror and the comedy in it, it works for some movies and it doesn't work for others. It really worked for this one with the little humor in this one. It worked a lot for it. And it probably worked for the time that this movie came out, too. But, I mean, it just made it more, like you're saying, it makes it more...
believable.
In a sense, yeah. And, like you were saying, you understand the family more because of just how they were acting and stuff. And it was funny. I'm sure back in the 70s, people probably didn't find it as funny as we did today, but you don't see a lot of that type of shit back in the day. And I got a couple, we can jump right into Slicing and Dicing with Sir Sturdy. We're going to talk about how we feel about this movie and just a little more. I want to tell you the funniest quote I thought from the movie, which the episode's going to be named this, "Shut up, you bitch hog." When the father figure, the dad, said that to the hitchhiker, I forgot what the fuck they were arguing about, but he was like, "Shut up, you bitch hog." And, we were dying. And so I had to read that guy off to you guys, and that's going to be the name of this episode. But I had a couple of more fun facts about this movie. Where is it at? So the director of the movie, Tobe Hooper, again, this is all sourced from IMDb. He supposedly, I don't know if this is true or not, but what I'm about to read, he got the idea for this film in a hardware store, and he was thinking of a way to get out of the store was crowded, and he was thinking of a way where he can get out of the store, and he spotted chainsaws. So that's how he got the Chainsaw Massacre, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. I know it's loosely, very, very loosely based off of the killer Edward Gein, but that's just another little fun fact. And then Entertainment Weekly magazine voted this movie the second scariest film at the time, behind another movie, and I'm going to see if Michael can guess it. It's from the 70s. It's an older horror movie. I'll give you a hint. It's not Halloween.
Friday the 13th?
No. Should I give you a better hint than that? Let me see. Spinning head and vomit.
Oh, Exorcist.
Yep. So, which, again, at the time, we should do that one time.
Yeah, that's a long movie, though.
It's fine. We'll figure it out. I thought that movie was funny, the one from 73. Mm-hmm. But you know what one I wouldn't mind doing before I'll get back to this Texas Chainsaw Massacre one is, you know what, I'll talk to you about it after the podcast. Sorry, guys, I'm not going to do that to you. So, that's pretty cool. But, so, is there anything you didn't like about this movie? Or something you would... I'll say it like this. Again, this is a shout out to my brother John. He was telling me to do this. He gave me this idea. He was saying, like, instead of being, like, which you'll hear in episode 4, but he was saying, like, instead of being negative about a movie, like, think of something... Because people work hard on these movies, which we all know. He was like, think of something to make it positive in a sense for, you know, our review. What would you do... You can say what you disliked about it, but what would you do to change it or to fix it? Like, if you had the pen, so to speak, to rewrite certain parts, just to change it up. You got anything, or you got to think for a minute?
I think... I don't know. I don't necessarily think I would change this version.
Okay.
I'm sure there'd be other things in different versions I would change.
But this one you think was pretty much done right?
Yeah, other than just like the lack of explanations, like what happens to the truck driver after he runs away, so on and so forth.
Or, yeah. I can get that. Like, I mean, at least with this one, unlike the last one, you see the truck driver just kind of take off down the street. And the other one that we watched, he just kind of ran around his truck and then he was just like gone. You didn't know where he went. But with that, adding on to that, like maybe them driving off. I like the way it ended, though. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying, like, for it to make sense, I guess, them driving off and the truck drivers, you know, the tractor trailer driving off in that could have been a little different. Mm-hmm. But again, I do like how it ended. I feel like the movie was an hour and a half. And it didn't seem like it was like, you know, you watch a movie and it's like an hour and a half, but it seems real long. This movie kind of seemed quick.
Yeah.
Like, I feel they could have added a little bit more to the story. Like, there was no... Again, this is probably... You can't even say it's the first murder. Because in the beginning, they were talking about... remember, the screen was black and they were like, you just seen, like, flashes and it'd show, like, body parts?
Yeah, yeah.
There was real no explanation. I know they were talking about, like, you heard about it. I guess it was on the radio or whatever. Mm-hmm. But you would think that there'd be something about that town to where it's, like, a little eerie to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, someone's just, like, something happened here or whatever.
Yeah.
Or was this supposed to be, like, the first murders, these 5? And then maybe that part was supposed to be, like... Well,
I mean, in all the other ones, these weren't the first murders, so... I don't know. Like you said, there's not enough backstory on that to know. But you got to think with the teeth and then all the skulls, it couldn't really be the first murder.
That's actually very, very true. I just wish. I mean, then again, maybe it's good they didn't know because it's kind of one of those things in horror movies where you you hear the story about this town and you still go there. Yeah. Maybe it's kind of good they didn't know, just to kind of. Do something. I can't say do something different because this was an older movie, but, for looking at it now, do something a little bit different. Like, okay, this shit's going on in this town, but you don't know, but maybe it's something that's never talked about. If you're an outsider, you don't know, and you're never gonna know. Mm-hmm. So I did like that, but I don't know. At the same time, I feel like I'm contradicting myself because I do wish there was a little bit more of a backstory, just a touch, or not even a backstory, just like the part with Jerry, like how he ended up from
The water hole to the house.
the water hole to the house kind of deal, and like the time that went by too, because from when Pam and Kirk left, it was like it was say like an hour after they got there, right? Jerry comes looking for them, let's say like about 2 hours later, and then it's pitch black out before Sally and Franklin go are like worried. I'm like that part right there seems kind of weird to me. Like I feel when that happened, like when Jerry went, he should have been like, look, we're gonna go to the watering hole. I'm gonna see if they're down there. If not, I'm gonna come right back and we can figure something out. Or, I'll be back in a few minutes. He was just like, he just kind of took off.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the time that passed, which doesn't make it bad, but I don't know. That's probably something I'll change. Just clean up those parts, those little parts like that about it. And I would, other than that, I thought the movie was really good, really well done. Like I said, I loved the humor in it. I feel like it was perfect for it, and just the characters all together. I mean, obviously, it's a horror movie. It's an older movie. The acting is never great in horror. You don't watch horror movies for great acting, but in this movie, I felt like the actors kind of they were good with each other in the movie. Like they kind of played off each other well.
Yeah, I'd agree.
So, with that being said, first question is, would you recommend this movie to anybody like that hasn't seen this movie ever? Would you recommend like, hey, you should check this movie out? If they said like, hey, Michael, I want to see a good, interesting horror movie, but like an older one.
Yeah, because I would recommend it because I don't really care for too many 70s movies, but this actually kept me entertained the whole way through.
Yeah, I'll agree with you to the part as far as it keeping me entertained. I can watch older movies like that though, but like he was saying, this is one of those movies where, somebody's like, hey Aaron, what's a good movie to watch, entertaining.
Like if you would have told me this was made in the 90s, I would have believed you.
That's understood. I could see that. I could definitely see that in the early 90s, because it wasn't badly made at all.
No, it was pretty well put together.
And I forgot to mention this earlier. The hitchhiker's camera was big as shit.
Oh yeah.
That he's hanging around his neck.
And you had to like pull it out,
pull the film out, and like peel the shit back to see the picture. And the picture, I'm telling you, the picture was garbage. That was I wouldn't pay $2 for that shit either.
No.
But what else was I gonna say? What else? You have anything else to say about the movie?
What would you rate it? Out of 10.
You want to do 10 chainsaws? Last time I only did 5. I think I really, really, really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give it 8 chainsaws, and I'll tell you why. We pretty much discussed it, but it was like I said. Besides the little, like I said, the little parts I can kind of patch up for its time, I think it was a really good movie. And I would originally, how I said in the last one, how I didn't like how they didn't really show a lot of the kill scenes that they should have showed. But for this one, I feel like it worked. Especially from the stuff that I was reading earlier about how he wanted to kind of make it PG and then how he wanted to make it so it was like, like people were saying that it was scarier with all these kills and stuff off scene, so you kind of knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But you didn't see what was going on. I thought it was kind of cool like that because it's like, it gives you more of an imagination if you don't see it. And I know again I sound like I'm flip flopping because with the newer one I like, I love the gore. You know how I am. I love the gory stuff. But just sit down and watch this film and you'll understand what I mean. So I'm gonna give it 8 chainsaws, and from now on I guess we're gonna do 10 of whatever's instead of 5.
Yeah.
What would you rate it?
I'd give it probably about 7.
7?
Yeah. It was pretty well put together. I think it could have just been a little bit more graphic, but you gave the explanation of why it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
I think if it was just a little bit more graphic, that probably bumps it to like a 9.
Now, we both would recommend this movie. We both gave it a good rating. I gave it an 8. You gave it a 7. Would you watch the movie again? Like, does it have enough? Like, watching that movie, does it have enough to bring you back to watch it again? You know what I mean? Like,
I'd watch it again. Probably. I'd give it a little bit of time, obviously, but yeah, I'd watch it again.
I definitely would. This is the first time that I've seen this movie in I don't know how many years. I wouldn't wait that long to watch this movie again, but I would definitely watch it again, and I really enjoyed it. And I want to add more to this podcast. Like, I think at the end of this episode, we should try to just quickly come up with the next movie we want to do and review.
All right.
I know we were talking about The Exorcist. Do you want to just do that, the 73 Exorcist, or do you want to do something different, something newer, something more modern?
I did want to do that movie that we spoke about last time on the podcast, and I did call my dad today, but he didn't answer, so
okay.
When I do get in contact, if we can't figure out
that voodoo movie,
then we'll go with The Exorcist.
Okay, so if we again, and I know this is a bi-weekly podcast, but I might drop this episode a little bit sooner, these past few that I made, just to get them out there. So if I do, I'm actually going to make a Facebook post about this also. What movie, now we said the voodoo movie, if you guys can figure that out, awesome. Post it, whatever. Like, again, when I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to post it in the horror page. I'm going to post it all over to let us know the name of that movie, because we'll do that, or The Exorcist next. But just to throw it out there, on the Horror with Sir Sturdy page, post what movie you would like me and Michael to review, what horror movie you would like us to review, and we'll do it. That'll be a good, fun way of getting these movies out there. And Henry, I'm still waiting for you to get on this thing again, and Rob, you too. I'm calling you guys out on the podcast. Thanks for listening. Again, Michael, thanks for being on. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I think that wraps it up for me.
Well, that about wraps it up for us. Again, thanks for listening. Keep listening. Share on your social medias, please. Greatly appreciate it. You can find it on YouTube, Stitcher, Podbean's like my main one, iTunes, SoundCloud. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be on SoundCloud, but SoundCloud, I have 2 episodes up. I don't know how many episodes I'm going to be able to keep on there, so bear with me on that. And I'm on Pod Player, Google Play, and I'm probably on just about any of them that you can find nowadays. And like I said, once I get 5 up, I will possibly be on Spotify, so look out for that. Horror with Sir Story, thanks for listening, and as always, I'll see you in your nightmare.